Before I start this joint, man, let me go ahead and give some shout outs, man. Some props. I had a brother by the name of Robert. Hooked the brother up with a $50 cash app, man. Much love. Had another homie, man, by the name of Kenneth. Hit me up with a $40 spot cash app. And once again, go back to, I guess, a couple weeks ago, man, where my man Brian Jenkins and another brother by the name of Chris hit me up, man. So once again, appreciate y'all hooking a brother up, man. That is going into my book fund. And, man, woo, hopefully I can get a discount, man, on some of this stuff I'm trying to get done on the book, man. I talked to my publisher / editor, and she said that, you know, she feels kind of bad about trying to bust my head about all the money that I'm going to spend to put all these illustrations in my book. So hopefully that's going to go down, man. Once again, you know, the universe is working with Big Mike, man. You know, as long as I got my partners, man, out here, my crew coming in, chiming in for Mac City and Philosopher King Radio. And like I said, the universe is on my side, man. The universe is on my side. Much love, fellas. Much love. You know, and also before I get into the main topic, man, I want y'all to understand that it is not necessary for you to come on here and agree with everything I say, man. I don't know, maybe my personality seems, I don't know, like I'm intolerant of other opinions, which I'm not. I mean, if I did have that sort of worldview, I never would have evolved out of other ideologies that I used to have in years past, because I am able to look at certain information, certain keys or modes of knowledge, and I'm able to assess and I'm able to grow if I find that information is actually valid or pertinent. Okay? The same way with you cats, man. If you are of a certain mindset or a certain mind frame, I mean, that's just where you're at. That's just what makes sense to you at the time, man. Okay? I mean, it is what it is. So let me just tell y'all about my mindset here. Big Mike does not put himself in any sort of thought matrix. And what I mean by that, I don't put myself in a box. I don't say I'm a Democrat. I don't say I'm a Republican. I don't say I'm a Muslim. I don't say I'm a Christian. I'm none of that shit. I refuse to be limited. I refuse to be put into a box in which, if I'm presented with certain information, I have to be able to grow. And it's hard to grow when you have a situation where you are just totally committed to a philosophy, or you're totally committed to an ideology. I mean, there's a reason why I came up with the power trick game, man. Shoot, the way that I integrate and the way that I deal with women is how I deal with everything in life, man. I eat the meat and spit out the bones. I took the rules and the laws from the macking and the pimping and the tricking and the square boyfriend shit and the husband shit, and I just made my own concoction, man. I made my own philosophy. I tailor-made a philosophy and an ideology that is expansive to me and that works for me. Okay? Now, what I do may not work for you because you may not have my skill set. You may not have my personality or my temperament, but it works for me. Okay? So keep that in mind whenever you hear me saying this, that, and the third on these podcasts, man. By no means do I set myself up to be the end all and be all of all knowledge. I'm definitely not that. But I ain't no fool either. Believe that. Yeah, man. So what we gonna talk about today, and this is just my opinion. This is just my opinion. Remember, Big Mike shuns boxes. He does not believe in cutting off information. He does not believe in cutting off modes of knowledge. I believe that you should be free to move accordingly. Up, down, right, left, it doesn't matter. You have to be free to make judgments about things. And it's really hard to do that when you're scared to. And that's what the whole thing about politics and religion is, man. People are so afraid of what someone may think of them. Or you may be scared of what the Sky Daddy is going to do to you. If you don't do this, there ain't no fear in me. Fear has no place in my quest for knowledge, man. None. Okay? So, I've already touched halfway on this on one of my other shows I did a couple weeks ago concerning religion, concerning Christianity. And I vehemently disagree with majority of the people I know that's in my life, man. You know, some people actually think that the church is something that's good. And man, I detest church. I can't stand it. I hate it. I just do. Just something in my spirit, something in my DNA, man, just says, no. It's a no-go. We ain't doing church. We don't do church, man. That was the main thing, you know, I told my chick, man. You know what I mean? I told her, hey, you know, if you into that church shit, we may as well part ways right now, because I'm not raising no slaves. You know what I mean? Any child that I sire will not be a church nigga. That's just not going to happen, man. You know, any child that I sire, he's going to be a warrior for the cause, man. He's going to be a champion when it comes to that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, man. Any child that I sire, he is not going to be afraid to jump into the deep end of the pool. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, you need to get you a chick like I had, man. You know, much love to my wife, Lynette. I love you, baby. And don't worry. When I die and I'm dead and gone, you know, I'm going to bless you. Believe that. I'm going to make sure you're tight. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, I can't do the gospel. I can't do the church shit, man. We can't do it, man. And why? Because once again, I told you, man, I'm all about that masculinity. I'm all about order. I'm all about creating an empire. And in this day and age, I don't know, maybe once upon a time, going way back into the early 1900s, maybe it was possible to use Christianity to actually build something with black folk. That's no longer the case. That is definitely no longer the case. So, yeah, when you have a philosophy that's moot and that's impotent, you got to get rid of it. Church ain't nothing but a fashion show, a place to go and gossip, a place that you go when you're trying to hook up and get some sex. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what the church has degraded itself into, man. But like I told y'all, Christianity and the church, we're speaking of the dispensation of grace. When you adopt that idea, what you're saying is you're cool with the concept of someone answering for your crimes, for your misdeeds. You're saying that even though someone else is innocent of these crimes, you're perfectly fine with them being tortured and crucified, all because you wasn't man enough to do the time once you did the crime. And where I come from, yeah, I know it's street politics, man, but where I come from, man, I mean, that's a sucker move, man. That's a sucker ass nigga, man. That's a nigga that has no character, man. I mean, if I was to meet a nigga, right, just in my real life, and I don't know if y'all understand this, man, but you know, when you go to prison, and one of the first things that cats want to do, man, once you come into the block, you know, they want to check your record, man. They want to check your jacket, man. Yeah, I mean, there is a certain code, a certain honor amongst criminals. I'm not necessarily sure amongst thieves, but amongst criminals, I mean, there's a hierarchy, man. And no one wants to be rubbing elbows with a nigga like that. I mean, if someone is reading, some sort of deposition or some court transcripts, they're looking at the certain amount of time that you got, and certain things ain't adding up because the math ain't mathing. Let's say you got caught with 5 keys of coke. but you only got 6 months. But they reading on the court transcripts of deposition, right, that you was the only one that got knocked, man. There was 2 or 3 other cats that got knocked as well, but all of them got like 20 years, 25 years and shit, but you got 6 months. And then like, niggas dig a little deeper, and they just like, oh shit, this nigga right here, you know, he a songbird, man. You know what I mean? He basically, what you basically did, right, when you went to court, is you put all the blame on your partners, man. You acted like you was innocent, like you ain't had nothing to do with none of that shit, knowing damn well that, hey, you had a big hand in transporting them 5 keys, but you sold your partners up the river for a lighter sentence, man. And that's basically, in essence, what you doing as a Christian, man. You know what I'm saying? You're refusing to be accountable for your actions, and you're letting somebody else bear the brunt of your bullshit. Anti-masculinity, anti-manhood, and anti-order. And Big Mike will have no parts of it. I'll have no parts of it. Don't give a fuck who wrote what book, when it was written. My man code refuses to assimilate. It will not happen. So let us speak on the second ideology that ensures that black men, once again, we're not going to speak on the black women. Black women, it is not their job to rescue and save the community. It just says they're incapable of doing it. A woman seeks strength and power. And whoever has that strength and power, that's who she's going to lay in bed with. So bottom line, Negro, as far as the man is concerned, you need to get you some strength and some power. And that's the only way you're going to move her. All of this other shit you doing online, crying about this, that, and the third, you're wasting your time. Okay? So black men, you need, in my humble opinion, you need to ditch the Christian ethos of being unmanly and unmasculine, because there is no man code in the dispensation of grace. And you need to ditch progressive, liberal, Democrat fuckery. Yes, I said you need to ditch being a Democrat. Why? Because democracy, or excuse me, the term Democrat or being a Democrat, once again, it fosters the very idea of being a wuss, being a soy boy, not being a man, not being accountable for what you do. The first thing you niggas do, man, once you hear a Republican say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, what you want to do. But you don't understand what it's like to be black. We can't do it because of this. We can't do it because of that. Basically what the Democrats have done. They have convinced you, no matter what, you can't do it without their help. They've convinced you that it's not your fault. That no matter what you do, Negro, you are always going to fail. Therefore, you need political help. You need someone in office that's going to hand you handouts. It's going to feed you crumbs. Yeah, it's crumbs, but it's still something, right? So yeah, to be a Democrat, or to be beholden to the Democrats, or to be in the Democratic Party, the Democratic ethos, once again, it's unmanly, it's unmasculine. Hence the reason why you see a lot of black women clinging and clutching so hard to progressive liberalism, because it caters to their needs. Handouts, welfare. This is what women want, and this is what women thrive on. Now, a real man, he's not looking for a handout. He's not looking for welfare. He gonna get it out the mud. He gonna get it how he live. How the fuck he gotta do it? By hook or by crook. But the Democratic Party teaches you nothing's ever your fault. It's the white man's fault. You have been duped and suckered by race hustlers. And understand, once I gotta go back to the beginning of this podcast and let y'all know and understand, Big Mike is not a Republican. And I'm not a Democrat. Some things I'm liberal about, some things I'm conservative about. I can remember maybe back in 2000, I would have considered myself a liberal. because, I mean, this is when I was first starting my porn thing. And one thing that was really irritating the shit out of me is we had a lot of Republicans, you know, just getting just a little bit too nosy, man, when it came to the porn game, when it came to the internet and me doing my hustle, man. I wasn't feeling that shit. So I'm like, man, fuck them Republicans, man. I'm fucking with that shit, man. Get out of my business. Get up off my dick, man. You know what I'm saying? Shit. But for the most part, that was the main thing that irritated me about Republicans, man. I mean, when I really looked at it, the majority of things that conservatives or Republicans was doing, I mean, I was all for it because I'm all about family and I'm all about order and structure, man. And, you know, that's what the conservatives, they own that shit. But, you know, they was just getting a little too crazy, man. Trying to outlaw this and ban that. Yeah, and they was outlawing and banning the UFC, and I love the UFC, man. And they had a situation where they had got them banned off pay-per-view and shit. I'm like, God damn, man. You know what I mean? So any party, period, man, that just getting too nosy for their own good, man. Always interfering in your personal life, man. You know, hey, back up, man. Give me 50 feet, man. And I'm not digging all this liberal progressivism that they doing with these kids, man. How they trying to turn all these kids into little cupcakes, man. No, I'm not on that shit, man. Yeah, I know. I said I don't like motherfuckers getting in your business, your personal business. But when it comes to them kids, yeah, man, I'm not for you getting them prepped to go into surgery and get they privates cut on, man. That's crazy. 18. Let them do it when they 18, man, not when they that age, man. That's crazy. But bottom line, the recap is, to be a Democrat means to alleviate yourself of all sorts of personal responsibility because it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, little Negro. It's okay. And then you, like the little puppy you are, you nuzzle up to your Democratic masters and he pats you in the head and they feed you table scraps. It's okay, little Negro. I'll take care of you. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Yeah. You know, that's how I see you niggas, man. Cuddling up to your Democratic masters, man. Shit. So, man, when we got that double whammy out there, man, being a Christian and a Democrat, I mean, it's totally, you know, it totally eviscerates the black community, man. It totally ensures that we won't be able to resurrect the crew, man. We won't be able to do it. Because you niggas is weak. There ain't no warrior spirit in that, man. The social engineers have seen fit to totally destroy the warrior gene in you, black man. And it's all done through being a Democrat and being a Christian. I have no doubts about that. And many will point to, well, we used to be able to have order and we was in the church, you know, back, I mean, people want to point to certain towns that we had, man, that was just all black and it was thriving and whatever. Like I said, that was back in the day. That's when we didn't have something called technology. Now, the powers that be, I mean, they have perfected the art of brainwashing, man. They perfected it now. I mean, with this television and this internet, man, and with them denying you certain amount of information and them promoting certain images and information ad nauseum on a repeated basis, just bombarding you with horrible ass ways to deal with your life's problems and whatnot. Yeah, it is a little bit perplexing, just a little bit, man, because you say to yourself, why is it that Caucasians and Asians who may be Christians and who may be into the church, why is it that they're not impotent and the black man seems to be impotent while he embraces these ideologies? Well, first of all, black people, once again, when we're looking at the hemispheres of the brain, black folks use mostly the right hemisphere. This is the side of the brain that uses art, color, spirituality, abstract thinking. So black folk tend to only deal with the fun stuff of religion, man. When it comes to more disciplined aspects of a religion, of a philosophy, of an ideology, they tend not to really want to deal with that. They want to deal with, ooh, we go to church so we can drink Kool-Aid and eat fried chicken. We go in there so we can look at the step drill team and listen to some preaching. And, you know, it's just a big ass party to niggas, man. You know what I mean? While other ethnic groups, I mean, they actually try to actually learn the precepts and the concepts of the philosophy. They're actually into the philosophy itself. But since the church right now, and I think that the biggest difference between the church now and the church then is now the church is really placating, or it's really catering to the thoughts and the emotions of black women, because that's where the money's coming from. It's a money making machine. It's a cash cow, and they don't want to upset the main ones that's digging in their pockets and making them rich, which is black women and shit. While back in the day, you know, the church, it had some masculine aspects to it, but no more. It's not the same institution. It's not the same entity. And while I say the church back then, it was still bullshit and it was still garbage as far as I'm concerned, but it was still 75% better than what we have now. And you could actually build something with that. And the proof is in the pudding with Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Rosewood and all of that, man. But due to the fact that the Negro still ain't that bright, why? Because they fell for the trick of integration. You should not have assimilated. You should not have assimilated black folks. Now you're totally dependent upon your white masters. So until we shake those thought matrices of Christianity and being a Democrat, you're forever going to be impotent, and you're forever going to be powerless, and you're forever going to be bitch made. But Big Mike, what about being a Hebrew? Well, I did that too. Yep, I did that too, man. And that's a much more masculine version of Christianity. And yeah, if you're going to do the Christian thing, yeah, I would definitely suggest that you go into the Hebrew Israelite realm, because you can actually build something with that. Barely. But yeah, you can actually build something with that, man. Anything that has a smattering of a masculine vibe, you can actually build something off that, man. Well, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for structure. We're looking for order. The church doesn't have that these days. It does not. And neither does your Democrats. They do not believe in structure and order. They believe in chaos. The more chaos they can create, the more they can expand their power base. How do I know this? Because I'm a power trick. And that was one of the main things I thrived on when it came to my broads. The more fucked up their life was, the more stronger my hold was on them. I couldn't power trick a bitch that had her life together. If she had her rent paid and she had a regular supply of food coming in and a regular supply of money so she could pay her bills. You know, if she was going in and out of prison or jail, or her nigga was going in and out of prison, she would always have to call me to set things right. I thrived off chaos, nigga. Shit. But if her life was in order, I couldn't get nowhere with a bitch like that, man. Shit. She don't need Big Mike. She tight. Shit. Y'all better ask somebody about me, man. I've been around the track. I know what the fuck I'm talking about, man. I know what I'm talking about. Shit. Oh, yeah. And to my boy, Tony Snow. Shit, my man Tony Snow hit me up on some jokey joke, laugh shit. Talking about not Menace to Society, but Dead Presidents. Because me and my boy Tony Maceo used to always talk about one of our favorite characters in all of cinema was Cuddy from Dead Presidents, right? And then I think Tony came on, he was like, hey man, I hate to break it to you, man, but the Breakfast Club interviewed one of the Hughes brothers, and he said that one of the Hughes brothers called Cuddy a pimp. So I think y'all was wrong about that, because me and my boy Tony Maceo said, nah, man, you know, Cuddy a power trick. Cuddy ain't no pimp, he a power trick, man. Because he was boning Juanita, but at the same time, he was breaking her off bread at the same time. You know what I mean? So either he was just a boyfriend, or he was just tricking on the broad. Either way, but he wasn't pimping on her. And we didn't see no pimping in that movie. We didn't see him pimp nobody. We just seen he had a lot of money. He's a flashy nigga. And he was boning homeboy's girlfriend Juanita, man. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, man, shit. Yeah, power trick, man. Nigga ain't pimping. So I think, like, once again, I mean, I actually tried to look up Cuddy's character, man, and they ain't really speaking on much of his background and shit. But somewhere along the way, I think he was actually a heroin dealer. You know, he wasn't a pimp, but he was a drug dealer, man. And if you've been in the game, as long as I've been in the game, you know that the most prolific tricks are dope dealers. Why? Because they got it like that, man. They would rather spend money than their time, because money is actually more abundant than their time. Shit. So they don't mind breaking a chick off, man. Shit. So when you know the game like I know the game, and I know the game very well, looking at that movie, I'm like, it's obvious that Cuddy's a power trick, man. He ain't no pimp, but once again, it's easy to confuse a power trick with a pimp. It's easy to. How do I know that? Because a lot of people have confused me for being a pimp. When cats used to talk about me or describe me or whatever I hear in these streets, man, I mean, I rarely heard the term trick. It was always pimp. Oh, that nigga pimping you. That nigga pimping you. You know, the hating ass niggas out there was out. Oh, he pimping you, bitch. You know, it was never, you know, oh, that lame ass, trick ass. Nah. As far as these niggas was concerned, I was pimping. I was pimping on the bitch. But when you look at the flow of money, how the transaction went down, I mean, I was paying the chick. Of course, I was getting residuals back off of them from the website. But, you know, you got a lot of so-called boss hog pimps out there that will just roll over in their grave. If I even dared call myself a pimp, so fuck it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Call me whatever you want, but don't call me stupid. Because I'm getting the money and the bitch. Well, anyway, shout out to my boy Tony Snow, man. Hey, I still ain't found that goddamn interview, man. What you need to do, man, you need to type in the exact title of that interview of them Hughes brothers. The Hughes brothers on, and I hate to even give Breakfast Club any sort of clicks. I hate the Breakfast Club, man. Anything that's got to do with liberal energy, I shuns it. I shuns it, son. Yeah, man. But yeah, man, type in the full description or the full title, so I want to hear what he had to say, man. Well, all right, y'all. Big Mike, Almighty Triple XL, coming at y'all live and direct. Max City Limits Radio, Philosopher King Central, and we out.